Hey guys, what's up? I just got in from doing some Jenkem, doing the brown around town, and I was talking with Cody. Now, in McKeesport, that's where I live, the Jenkem community really has a reliable following. We've been called a cult, but it's much more like a religion or a philosophy, because the people here that snort and report never shit and quit. And it's important to know that that's true. There are Alcoholic Anonymous groups type things, and people try to shit it and quit it. And most of the time that proves ineffective. That proves very difficult to do. It's like cigarettes or the highest like sex with someone you love, or getting to see a newborn baby. Jenkem makes it so that you're so fresh. And so, like, one of the sad things about this epidemic is that the Jenkem community here is really aware of disease. So we have to, use masks so that nobody gets COVID, because it's a killer. And yet we still got a huff, and some of the Jenkem stays on the mask. So that high, that high lasts, and it's the fecal last that you can ride on for minutes, that you can just like summit and nadir and go along the wave. It's like a sine wave in the midst of a tangential rise, like a tsunamical cosine wave as it moves back to starting at 1 instead of zo. Sine starts at the origin and goes up and down. Cosine starts at 1 because SOHCAHTOA is sine opposite hypotenuse, cosine adjacent hypotenuse, tangent opposite adjacent. And the connection of math to Pujamal to Jenkem through... Oh God, I'm just having a moment. Ignore this. I'm sorry. I don't mean to waste your time. I get disoriented because it's changed my life. And it's so spiritual, but it's also... It's not known about by most of my family or friends. I just got to see Cody, and he just learned about this. And he's great. And we did his first time together, and he gestured as if he wanted to shit it and quit it. He went, oh, and I was like, I know that. I've been there. I've caused that in public, and I've known it was me, and I've been there for that, where like you can't stop. And you've got the stank of jank. But it's like crank, which is like crack. So crack and crank and coke are all connected. Well, jank and jack and joke, those are not as connected. Anyway, the reason I bring up SOHCAHTOA is the Svents from 70 to 79 are Svent, Zvun, Zvu, Zvi, Zvor, Zvive, Zvix, Sven, Zveit, Zvine. So Sven is 77. That's the only one that doesn't fit the typical pattern. And the reason that Sven is 77 is that Sev is 7. And so you need to have another SV kind of thing to it. And Sven just works really well for 77, which, by the way, is Sev times want, which is want is 11. Sev times want is, it's every once in a while you're doing the primes up to 100. Like, it's nothing to do that. You should do that every once in a while. 2, 3, 5, 7, want, threen, zveen, eint, twee, twine, thrun, threv, frun, free, frev, fee. Is fine one? And then you have to check it. And that's what Sven does to me. It's a quick check because it's so obvious that want goes into Sven because it's 77. If you have a repetition of a number right next to each other, you know it's divisible by want. What more do you want when you're prime factoring than an obvious 11 to show up? L even, baby. But the Jenkem brings you to another level of comprehension there that people aren't comfortable with. They don't want to learn the truth, the deeper truth of Poojamal. That it's just little poop patoops. And you dot the horizon and you just rise up and you change the world. That's what Poojamal can do. That's what Jenkem brings to your forebrain. It brings all of those thoughts that are deeply, essentially, in your intestines. The thought of having to fart, having to poop, smelling the poop, doing the, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, thinking the, uh-oh, I farted. Uh-oh, it wasn't just a fart. Those thoughts can be moved to the forebrain, and when they arrive, you get up to 1-ian. 1-ian is 10,000 in decimal. And 1-ian is the first thing. Like, it's so weird. In decimal, you've got 100, then you've got 1,000, then you've got 1,000,000. And 1,000,000 is the first thing. Because 1,000,000,000, which is 2, is the second thing. And yet, 1,000,000,000 is 2, 3 thousands. It's 3 thousands. Why is it a billion? Doesn't make any sense. In Poojamal, that's what I'm talking about. 1-ian is the first thing, and it's at 10K. But that's the cool thing, it's at Poopay. Poojamal is at 10P, 10 poops, 10 pay. And 10 pay is, I don't know. Look, these thoughts are spiritual, and therefore they are beyond words. And it's beyond turds. And it's almost the curse of spirituality to not be able to explain it. But that's why we gauge. Because you can explain numbers and communicate it across the number scale. And so you don't have to shit it and quit it. Once you hit to 1-ian, you know 2-ian is there, and 3-ian is a trillion. 3-ian is the third thing. It is 10,000 moved up again. And trillion is 1,000 moved up 4 times. It's 4 1,000s. 4 3 zeros. You know 1,000 has 3 zeros. Well, then why does a trillion have 2 or 12 zeros? Doesn't make any sense. But in Poojamal it does. In Poojamal it makes sense. Because you're doing 3 sets of 4 zeros. Or 2 zos. And the zos are split like, I have 2 fingers here right now. That's 2 fingers. If it was a 0, it would be 4 fingers. So live long and prosper. But the message is evolving and growing to another level and power. So it's live long and Poosper. Poosper!